Tell me about the first person that you talked to.
Okay, well, the first person I talked to, her name was Alexandria Thomas, and I got grouped with her first just because she has a psychology major, and, you know, I want to be a psychologist. Mm-hmm. And so I asked her about, like, if she had the same major going into college as she had now, and she was like, no. She had an engineering major, and she said she went in there and, like, took classes for it, and she absolutely hated it. And she was like, she didn't know what she wanted to do with it. Yeah.
Good for her.
And so she changed it after her first year in college and became a psychology major, but she doesn't really know exactly what she wants to do with it. She said if you have a psychology major, like, her main point was it's so broad, you can get so many jobs. So that was really nice. And she also brought, like, a lot of classes that I didn't know she had to take, like general psych and cognitive learning and childhood psych and, like, developmental psych, and I was like, those are a lot. Like,
it's awesome.
I also asked her about, like, if she had to use her syllabus and follow it as strictly as we were told, and she was like, she just writes down test dates, and then most of the syllabuses are online. Syllabi.
Yeah.
And so she said that her humanities was the hardest class that she had to have.
Preach.
And she wants to be a psychologist, but she also wants to just do, like, mental health counseling, so she's not sure yet. So that was the first girl. And then the second girl that I talked to was, her name was Casey. I don't really know how to say her last name. And she has a nursing major. And I talked to her mostly. I asked her about the stigma of sad, stressed college students and, like, if that's just, like, everywhere or if it's just, like, a thing. And she said sometimes it's really hard and it gets stressful from freshman year, but if you can make it through freshman year, she said that it gets a lot easier to get to know things, and she thinks that it's just a stigma, which is nice to know that you're not always going to be, like, sad and stressed out. She also said that, like, you don't have to be involved in, like, clubs and everything to have fun, but it does help, and she's, like, she's, like, encouraging me to, like, go and do things, like, instead of just staying in your dorm, which was really, like, insightful, because I'm not a very outgoing person. And she said that the hardest lesson that she had to learn is a B is okay. She said she got straight A's during high school, and when she got to college, she was, like, making B's and C's, and she was, like, freaking out and worrying about her GPA, but she had to worry about it anyway, and she said that it was okay that she had to learn.
Tell me about the third person.
The third person that I talked to was Jared, and he was a computer science major. He was also from Kansas. He said he was in, like, the largest city in Kansas, though, or something, so it wasn't, like, he said he was kind of on the outskirts, and he, like, walked to high school every day, and, like, there wasn't really a lot to do. I'm not sure. Like, and he was, like, he visited a bunch of colleges, but he didn't really like any of the ones, so he went to Milligan, and he said he felt super comfortable just because it was smaller, but not, like, super small, too small for him. And he said that the same class could be drastically different depending on the professor. Like, he said that he had the humanities class with the hard professor, and his friend had the same humanities class with the easy one, and he had to do so much work, and he felt like it was so unfair.
Humanities is literally the hardest thing that's ever happened to me.
He said that he had to learn to be flexible and learn that plans change, and that was his most important thing, is that he went in thinking, like, one specific thing, and then he changed his mind, like, but it was during the same major, and so he, like, let us know that everything's not going to stay the same.
Tell me about the last one.
The last one I talked to was Rebecca, and I think she was an education major, pretty sure. And she was a cheerleader. She is a cheerleader at Milligan, and she talked to us about, she mainly talked to Kyle about, like, because she had Army friends. And so she was telling him about her friends in the Army and how they changed plans and went to college instead of the Army first, a back way around. And she talked to us about how flexible you have to be during college and how it's just not as hard as everybody seems, but you always have to have determination and, like, stay on track and actually care about your grades.
Awesome. Great job.